This is James Luxon, delighted to be joined with Jake Bostwick. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing very well, mate. Thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thanks for joining me today.
Very
We got
appreciate
you on to discuss the big fight coming up, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I want to
it.
get your point of view on the fight as a fan and as Jake Paul's previous sparring partner. So, firstly, let's start with the sparring experience of Jake Paul. Was he what you expected? Was he better than you expected?
He's definitely better than I expected, and he's definitely progressed ever since I started sparring with him when he was getting ready for Ben Askrin. That's when I first started working with him. From then till now, man, he's like light years better. Yeah, yeah, crazy. He's a savage, mate. You know, he really puts the work in, and as much as he posts always, his bullshit and being a joker, like behind closed doors, mate, he's really working. So
Talk about that aspect because a lot of people will look at him at sort of face value and go, right, okay, it's Jake Paul, he's, YouTuber, influencer, like I say, a bit of a joker, puts out all this crap. But behind closed doors, how hard is he working? Even back then when Ben Askren was what I think probably his first boxing fight, was it?
something like that, I think so. Yeah, it was his first. No, who? Jake's first or Ben's first?
Jake's one of Jake's earlys, wasn't it?
One of his earlier fights, yeah, in his career. I think he had a couple fights. Can't remember the names of the dudes, but he fought a couple like other like influencer type people, and then I think Ben Askren was like the first kind of fighter, you know.
Athlete.
But yeah, that I think that was the first sort of jump to like an MMA, mixed martial artist, and then coming into boxing and so forth. And I'll tell you what, and for everyone that talks absolute rubbish about Jake and like, who he fights and whatnot, when you do really look at any fighter, every fighter, majority of the time, needs to build, needs to grow, needs to get experience. And, people are fighting absolute cans and bums, like absolute major B-siders, like on a level. At least Jake is growing and maturing as a fighter and getting the experience against like real athletes, real fighters. So that's one thing that I always like to point that out. It's like, bro, he's still doing it, and these people believe that they can beat Jake. The same as Mike Perry thought he could beat Jake, weather the storm. Like, bro, he got pieced up, bro. He's not a joke. So he's stepping up now against Tyson, like that.
Talk about obviously you've seen from outside since you sparred Jake, you saw him in the early days and how he was then and the progression to now. And you mentioned who he's fought, and although they're not boxers as such, the one boxer he has fought he did lose to, but he's still fighting athletes. These are guys who have trained to fight in their own discipline. You obviously MMA fighter, bare knuckle boxer. You tell me from your point of view, how easy or hard is it to box as an MMA fighter for the likes of Askren and Mike Perry, etc.?
So now I've been doing the boxing and the bare knuckle since almost 2018. Boxers will be able to piece up majority of MMA fighters. Majority. I'm not saying all because there's some really technical MMA strikers, that can box well, got good hands, but the style is different. The same as boxing is different to MMA, and the same as bare knuckle is different to boxing. It really is its own sport. But for boxers, someone like Jake Paul getting all these like fresh MMA guys, unless someone's got really, really good hands and head movement and stuff to actually put it all together, then it's a whole nother ball game. Like Mike Perry had zero head movement, and I knew that. And like when I trained with Jake for that fight, for example, just with the Perry one, it was like I moved my head a lot. I moved my head a lot. I got really good defense and good head movement, and Jake would still catch me and and I'll still catch him and so forth. But I can move a lot and I can do a little bit more. Whereas someone like Perry is very, very solid and strong and just right in front of you. But you're either going to be a punch bag or you got to be able to move with it. Boxing is a skill of its own. And since 2018, 2019, I've only boxed, and it's blew my mind away with how important the footwork is and the head movement, the defense, counters, in range, out of range, the inside work, like boxing is its own thing, man. And yeah, like Jake's definitely putting the work in.
Talk about the progression and what's the biggest improvement you've seen in Jake from Askren camp to Perry camp?
From Askren to Perry, oh wow. Head movement, his straight punches, his defense, his inside work, his footwork from Andre August last year when he knocked out Andre August. I was with him for that camp, and then I was with him for Mike Perry. from just them two, the 6 month window was night and day, mate. Like I remember when he was getting ready for Andre August, and I could get in and catch Jake. You know, I could like press him down. Whereas the last time I sparred with him for Perry, he had me at range a lot. Like really, his footwork got significantly better. Like for boxing, footwork is key. Like the biggest thing I'll take from boxing or what I've learned as a martial artist is the footwork. It really is the footwork, the angles, the movements, and being in positions to hit again. So like when you're moving, but you're moving with a purpose. You know what I mean? You're not just like moving yourself, like legit slipping shots. But you see Jake long on them jabs, he's moving his head with his shots, and he's rolling more, and he's flipping more, defending, countering more. Like night and day just from them 6 months. But from when I sparred with him, from the Askrin to now, he still had heavy hands. He ripped my front lip. He detached my top lip the first ever time I sparred him. You know, and I had full face headgear on. You know, like he hits hard, and that was when he was a little smaller as well. Bro, Jake is looking jacked right now, bro. Jake is looking powerful, mate. Like real talk, he is looking strong. But yeah, I've seen a significant difference in everything. Literally, what I just mentioned, everything.
Talked about how dedicated he is and how disciplined, because a lot of people almost sort of put it to one side and go, well, he's not taking it seriously. He can't be. It's Jake Paul. And they almost write him off a little bit, but he seems to be in the gym, day and night, 5, 6, 7 times a week working.
With pro fighters, brother, with athletes, people like myself. I'm no scrub. I'm no bum. Like if you want to spar, like people know how I fight, how I spar, and he's sparring with professional fighters like myself, being able to put on the work that he's doing, like in the gym, doing like 10, 12 rounds. Like he'll do like multiple rounds. He'll warm up for several rounds, like a few rounds of shadowing, like warming up with everything, whatever. And then he'll do like multiple rounds, whether it's like sparring 6 to 8 rounds. Then he'll do work on the mitts. Then he'll finish up stuff on the bag. Then he might finish up on the rope. Like hardest working man in the room, really taking it very, very serious. And he's training, and beside, like around him, he's got like real solid fighters, athletes, boxers. So he's learning from just straight knowledge. He's not like just in a gym trying to see how it's going and with his friends. No, he's working with pros that know what they're doing on a daily basis. You know, watching, studying. They study boxing, watching boxing, like they're really drilling it. And yeah, he gets it, mate.
They say iron sharpens iron. Do you think the fact he's surrounding himself by these people like yourself, these athletes, these boxing people, is certainly helping him?
100%, because at the end of the day, you only iron does sharpen iron. If you are in a gym and you are beating the crap out of people in your gym, you need to upgrade, bro. You shouldn't be the hardest or the best fighter in your gym. Personally, I don't think. You need people on your level or better than yourself that are pushing you to, yeah, because it is true, bro. Iron does sharpen iron, and you need to be uncomfortable to learn from that and grow with that. And yeah, he's doing that. He has pro boxers in all the time, sparring and training. Like, I've not worked with him for the Tyson fight because I'm a little small for him right now. So obviously they're fighting heavy. So he's got bigger boys in there right now. You know, like Mac Truck, I think, is still out there, and that Savage, he is heavyweight boxer, crazy. So it's like he's working with real dudes, mate. You know, and it does it. Of course, it's going to help you. Yeah, and he performs against us as well. It's not even as if like, that's what I mean. I don't know what people think. I really don't. You know, people do. They all talk their rubbish and have their assumptions. But you know, I've been on the receiving end of Jake's punches and how he's doing. Even cracking Jake myself. You know, stays focused, stays composed. You know, he's injured himself sparring against me and stuff, and still wants to keep working. You know, like bro, we'll be mid round. Remember, and he was sparring with Ulysses, Yuli the monster. See, we're a big family, me and him. And he came out for sparring, and he got cut like a minute 20 into a round, like I think it was like round 4 or something. And he had to obviously come out. He had a massive, he was bleeding, and Jake's like, Jake, let's go. And I literally jumped in, and he even finished up that round. You know, it's not like he's trying to slouch or get away from it. Like he's really trying, man.
Made a good point in there, Jake, about taking a punch. For Jake, especially going back to the Askren in the early days in the early camps, what was he like? Was he ever like a deer in headlights at all, or has he been almost like an athlete and act like a fighter has always been?
He's definitely had the fighter in him. He's definitely about it. But I'd definitely say he's got way better at being hit and knowing what to do whilst getting like pressured or hit, you know? Like he'll defend himself better, he can eat some shots, he stays composed, covers up, puts his rolls in, gets back on his stick, you know. Whereas before, maybe it wouldn't have been as clean as that. You know, you could catch him a bit and like he was a little slower with certain reactions and stuff, but no, way different now.
Does that
Way
show
different.
his boxing IQ as well? You know, the fact that he can think on his feet whilst under pressure.
Yeah, 100%. You got to think he's been under the spotlight for years now. You know, fighting big names in front of multiple thousands of people. You know, so you know it's all experience, it's all knowledge, it's all everything for him. It's only benefiting him, obviously. You know, because it's all experience, and the experience is where you learn. You know, you learn from doing. You know, it really is that simple. Not from you can watch stuff and learn, but I'm very the same as like I learn from my you people talk about you learn from your mistakes, and that is a real thing. Like I need to do something for it to go wrong or something for me to have that emotion and be like, damn, okay, I understand it now. Because that for me is the experience. And yeah, he's rocking up that experience, mate, racking it up. You know, with fighters in the gym when it comes to fighting professional fighters, big names. Mike, you know, he's fighting Mike Tyson. You know, he's other big names like Anderson Silva, like Diaz, Woodley, like bro, like you fighting like legends, mate. You know, so like to even be in front of these people and still do what you're doing and still rack up that knowledge, fucking amazing.
Talked about the Mike Tyson fight coming up. There's, I say dangerous, and there's two different points I mean by dangerous. One, how dangerous is it for Jake? Because they say power is the last thing to leave you. Even at 50, 60 years old, however old Mike Tyson is, he's still going to hold that power.
So for me, my biggest thing with this Jake Paul fight, Jake and Tyson, I feel because everyone asked me the same thing, like, what do you think? What do you think? You know, and like when I look at it as an outsider, because I haven't trained with Jake for this fight, so I don't know what he's done different or doing different. I'm assuming he's probably lifting more, eating more. You know, he's going to be stronger. He's going to be, you know, like he hits hard and inspiring everything when he's like 210. So I couldn't imagine. I don't even know what he's at right now, but he looks way thicker. Um, so to see, I think, bro, I really think Tyson's going to be dangerous for the first like 2, 3 rounds. I think that's where Tyson's going to be his most dangerous, personally. But they're both going to be fresh as well. So, oh yeah, I really don't know. Either Jake keeps him at the end of a bay and keeps his shots nice and long, but Tyson does his ying 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 and comes in throwing them big bombs, mate. And he does it, Jake. You know, can it sit him down? Of course it can. You know, could he 100% knock him out? Like, of course he can. But I feel that Tyson's going to be more dangerous in the earlier rounds, and I think Jay's going to fight very smart and be long with his stuff, obviously, because he's not going to want to, you know, take really much from Tyson. But Jake's punches at the end of that are really, really strong, bro. And, you know, a 50, 60-year-old man getting, you know, hit after this long by someone who's strong can sit Tyson down. So, like, you know, I feel like I give Jake the later rounds, and I feel like Jake could probably end that fight. I think he could definitely get either a KO or a TKO. I generally 100% do believe it. But at the same time, Tyson's going to be very dangerous, especially if he's got his movement and does Tyson, even if he's a little slower, he's still going to be dangerous. And if he does put one on Jake, you know, of course, it can fucking sit him down. You know, taking a punch to the face by someone who can like hit hard, and he looks like he's hitting hard. Yeah.
I said there's 2 points to that as well. The other point with dangerous is his age, Mike Tyson's age. You know, he's if he's over here in the UK, he's a few years off his bus pass. He's almost a
Yeah.
pension. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Okay. Yeah.
there's that aspect to it, and I know it's a bit different because he is, you know, been an athlete since he was what 11, 12 years old. So he's always been fighting for a long, long time. That never leaves you. But Father Time catches up with you. He didn't look very good when he retired against, you know, Kevin McBride, etc. He weren't looking after himself like he was now as well. That's another thing to say.
Yeah.
But the age side of it, you know, 56, 57 years old, how dangerous is it for Mike Tyson to go into this fight and not be an exhibition?
It is dangerous, of course. You know, he's had multiple punches over the years and so forth. But again, if he's on top of everything now, I think the last fight that he had. Who was Tyson's boxing fight that he had with someone? Was it like an exhibition or whatever?
Roy Jones Jr.
Right. Okay. Now, personally, in that fight, to me, it looked like Tyson was just like playing with him. I didn't feel Tyson was moving or doing what Tyson can do. Personally, I don't think he was. I swear there was a bit where he clipped him and sort of like held on to him, and I think he was fighting just like that. Whereas I think now Tyson's name is really on the line for a real serious situation, and I do not think that he's going to be taking it lightly. I believe that he's got a solid team and everything behind him, really training, busting his ass on top of his health and nutrition and his recovery and short and stuff. I'm sure he's on top. Like you can't be that big of a name and have the money you got behind you and not have all that. Be able to being able to be looked after in that aspect. So I think that he's going to be on top of all that. And yeah, it looks like he's working hard from what we see on social media. But yeah, both of them are, mate, and the fight's going to be crazy. I'm excited. I'm
It's mad.
excited.
It is mad. Jake, finally, last question. I'm going to try and push you for a prediction. What's
Go
the
on.
outcome going to be in your opinion?
Ah, but I don't want to say it because I'm a Jake Paul fan. Like I support Jake Paul 100% because I've seen how he is and like I truly respect him and whatever. And the same with Mike Tyson. He's like dude's a legend. I grew up watching him. I watch him sometimes to be inspired. Absolute love the guy. I've not even met him, but I'd love to love to communicate with him. But I believe if Tyson doesn't do something early on, I think Jake Paul can either win by either a decision or a TKO in the later round.
As mad
That's
as
why.
it might sound because of the age difference and the activity, is this a 50-50 fight?
Honestly, I see it as a 50-50 fight. I do see it as a 50-50 fight. I would honestly give slightly the favor to Jake just because he's younger, fresher, and like nothing really to lose, bro. Like, okay, you lost to Mike Tyson, whether he's 60, 50, 60, whatever. Right? He's Mike Tyson. Yeah, but I'm going to give it to Jake Paul. I don't think that him and his team would honestly take the fight if they didn't think that it was doable. You know, um, so I'm going to give it to Jake Paul like later rounds. Later rounds. I think it's going to be a bit of a feeling out process at the beginning. Tyson's going to try some things. I think Jake's going to be jabbing away like crazy. And again, this is me as an outsider because I'm not there for this camp, so I don't even really know. I don't even know the strategy, but the strategy in my head would be to, keep him at bay, keep piecing him up and try and look for the bigger shots to try and sink in, a big right hand or something that Jake's got. He's got them scorchers, especially with that weight back and behind it, mate. And he hits hard, bro. When he's cutting weight and he's like around like 205, even sparring with me, and like, he'll hit me sometimes, bro. And I'm like, damn, like, I just want to at least survive through sparring, not like get injured and stuff, Like he's broke my ribs, he's broke my nose, he's multiple little. Injuries, brother. And yeah, he's looking strong right now. So I think Jake later rounds, TKO finish, KO, TKO. I'm gonna say TKO.
Perfect. So appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Pleasure speaking to you.
Much love, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a blessed day, son.